Here's the game-changing strategy that my firm used so that leads never slip through the cracks in our intake department. I'm going to break it down on how we've divided the leads into certain categories, how to build out your coverage schedule, and when you really need people available for not just inbound calls, but also outbound follow-up on your intake department. So let's get into this. So there are a few different intake types. That means when a lead comes into the door, it needs to be categorized into a certain kind of type that certain people on your team go hit. I'm going to name them for you. There's a brand new lead phone call, warm transfer. That's the highest conversion rate opportunity. They are literally on the phone right then and there. That's a live transfer. Next is a form fill. A form fill is they just went to your site or maybe Facebook or wherever they just converted, filled out a form, first name, last name, phone number, email, what's going on, and it submits into your intake system or CRM. Then you call them. That's another bucket. Scheduled callbacks. Hey, I can't talk right now. Can you call me back tomorrow at 2? Great. That's a scheduled callback. Last and most important that people neglect, where all the money is really made in a strong intake department where stuff does not slip through the cracks, is in the follow-up bucket. For me, I broke out all those categories into their own distinct jobs. So my entry-level position is a outbound follow-up person who touches leads that have already been touched at least 2 times. They do calls 3 through 15 on them. So that's your follow-up bucket. There's sort of the brand new lead that you need to call. I don't consider that follow-up. Then it's every time that they didn't answer, calling them again and again and again until you get them on the phone, get an appointment set, or get them to sign your contingency fee and go through a full intake. So first, you got to break down all the categories of intake and make sure the right people are covering the right category of intake. So group 1 for me and my entry-level position is the follow-up role. Then I built out what I call the closers club, who touch live transfers, form fills, and scheduled callbacks. Those are the other 3 buckets. I kind of consider attorney referrals and former client referrals as a form fill in the context of this, FYI. So for me, I have just a follow-up role because follow-up is so important, and I have them just chase the long shot follow-ups, which have already 2 or more calls on them. Then my closers club touches new leads, form fills, live transfers, and scheduled callbacks. And then the last bucket is reception. Answer, transfer. Answer, transfer. That's a receptionist job. A receptionist job isn't to also stand up and open the front door. It isn't also to label the mail. Reception's job is to be focused on answer transfer, so they're available for the next answer transfer and do things in their downtime, if at all, because the most important thing is that next call. So those are the main buckets of intake. Now I'm going to talk about how to staff your schedule. In terms of having people available, you need to have inbound coverage 24/7, but outbound coverage 9 to 9, 7 days a week. If you don't have outbound coverage 9 to 9, 7 days a week, and all you have is coverage on your phones, if you get a form fill at 8 o'clock about a catastrophic death case in a trucking accident, and you don't have somebody sitting waiting to call that person with an outbound dial, you're going to not have a firm very soon because you're going to lose to competitors who actually will call that lead. So 9 to 9 for outbound calling, and then 24/7 for inbound calls. How you do that? In terms of beefing up your team, consider having a nights, weekends team of impact assistants or virtual assistants who can cover your phones in downtime that stateside people just don't want to do. For me, that's what I call the golden hours, because we get our highest answer rate and highest conversion rate on nights and weekends with our outbound dialing that we do. In terms of building a spillover schedule, when you have a schedule from 7 days a week, you need to block out, and I'm happy to put a resource in accompanying with this email that'll be a blank schedule for you. And basically you need to block out every hour of every day, 7 days a week, so that you know who specifically is in primary and who is behind them. So for example, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Monday, who in your firm is verifiably the first line of defense for calls that come in, and then who, if they're busy or on an intake or tied up, is second in command, third in command, and spill over when person one is busy. If you have these things in place, you immediately can have a significantly better intake department and start stopping with letting leads slip through the cracks. If this is for you, if you are running any marketing spend at all and you do not have these things in place, I guarantee you are wasting money. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're here for you. Thank you for spending time with us.